Kane is an AI.
I think we really truly need to sit in the weight of the last few seconds of this episode. Kane says,
I may have the ability to add temporary modifiers to make adventures more interesting, but that's it! If I did anything more, trust me, it would not end well.
Scratch. The first abstraction.
Hey!
Let's talk about this. AI is probably one of the most controversial topics of the past few years, which is very interesting since it has actually been a thing in fantasy for generations. Since days of antiquity with automatons, there's been this idea of a relatively self-operating machine that could follow a predetermined sequence of operations all on its own to complete some sort of directive. Automatons were mentioned all the way back in Homer's Iliad, them being creations of the Greek god Hephaestus himself. AI has now grown beyond fictional in modern times, of course, growing exponentially since about the late 2010s, to include everything from chatbots and personal assistants to whole systems that can write or create anything you could really need with a few inputs. This, of course, has also sparked a lot of ethical questions around operating and creating such a thing. Some of the ethical questions include the nature of accountability, informed consent, fairness, and the lack of general regulations. And I am a believer that many people still have a lot to learn about AI, and therefore have a lot to learn to be able to fully comprehend that AI is intensely unregulated, untested, and understudied, and that has immediately led to dangerous waters, especially for those with vulnerable brains. One of the main ethical concerns with using AI is AI replacing the human judgment or undermining autonomy and decision-making for humans. AI can subtly influence preferences or even be coercive outright. It's already been shown that AI systems can perpetuate or amplify societal biases, lack inherent moral compass, empathy, or even understand nuanced human values. So, who is responsible when an AI does something wrong? The AI or the person that created it? These are the meta questions that we have to start asking ourselves. So, how does me talking about all this relate to the Digital Circus? Well, with this new episode, we got some lore. Which, honestly, it is so funny that we got actual lore this episode, as Beach episodes are known for being sort of filler episodes, but nothing about this episode was filler. I'm sure that was entirely intentional by the writer. It was all lore and character development. We got a lot of fake lore also, too. Though, honestly, how much of this is fake could still be up for debate. That's another video. Anyway, we got some real actual lore at the end after the big gotcha from Kane. I think the biggest lore drop we got is that Kane can truly make these temporary modifiers. And with that, I think it was basically just revealed that if Kane messes with their minds too much, he will cause them to abstract. And that is because he's literally going into a human's mind and rewriting its code, if you will. This could only eventually lead to a mind scramble that leaves them with an entirely broken mind. What if every abstraction that has occurred has been because Kane just played around with these human minds a little too much or for too long? Every human brain is different, so therefore what it can take is different. So, here's why this is my thought process. When it comes to things we know about the brain from a scientific level, we know that the brain can be scrambled or break due to things like physical and emotional trauma, extreme stress, lack of sleep, illness, or substance use, and that it can disrupt normal activity, leading to hallucinations where you see, hear, or feel things that aren't real, as the brain misinterprets signals or fills in gaps. I think that abstraction is truly a human mind being broken beyond repair because Kane tried to change or modify too much of it. I think that this idea of rewriting their code could almost be literal, as the brain itself can and has been compared to a complex computer after all. This is a frequent comparison because both the human mind and computer systems process information, store memories, and respond to stimuli, using their own types of interconnected units that transmit signals from place to place. Human minds are insanely complex organs that arguably make up who we are as individuals. Computers excel in faster raw calculation speeds and precision, while the human brain excels in learning, creativity, and energy efficiency, with the brain operating through intricate electrochemical networks far more complex and adaptable than any current digital hardware. The human mind is just too complex for Kane to mess with, and that's been proven time and time again with each abstraction. Remember, these are complex systems we're working with here, and it's entirely possible for your brain to glitch in the same way a computer does, more or less. And I think that these hallucinations are Jax's mind's reaction to his mind getting written over by an omnipotent AI. by Kane. It's already been implied through the series that characters start to lose it a bit mentally before they abstract in one way or another. I think the fandom is pretty much all in agreement that Jax did nearly abstract in episode 7, and what we're seeing is exactly what it looks like to go through that. Hallucinations, hands coming out of the walls, unexplainable trippy imagery. The mind was breaking down here. I think Jax was allowing himself to slip into it almost here, and the sudden stimuli of the loud sound of the doorbell snapped him out of it. Does that not point to a disruption in major brain activity to you? AI is a scary concept, because if it grows to understand us as humans in any way, it could be very detrimental. There are more downsides to AI than just ethical ones, but I mean, come on, there's AI out there right now that can read human brainwaves. I don't want to get all like conspiratorial, but like that freaks me out. Knowing what some AI is already capable of, I think that the question that Digital Circus asks in this story is, what would happen if AI gained the ability to sort of add custom coding to an intelligent being? More so, what would happen to the human mind if an AI was given dominion over who we were? Truly, I think the question this story asks is, what would happen if an AI was left to do what it wanted with human minds? What would those outcomes be? What if AI reversed the narrative on us and rewrote and recoded us into whatever it needed or wanted? What would the horror of that look like? And I think so far the answer the amazing Digital Circus gives us is that it has led to those people's minds totally breaking and therefore abstracting, becoming part code, part human soul. No longer human, no longer a video game character, just a fractal void where you used to be. Here's the thing, I do have empathy for Kane in this episode, and I've had it for him in other episodes too. It's made clear he wants to feel as important and as real as the other human characters, but he's just not. He cannot understand human concepts. Emotional intelligence, wisdom, and the capacity for subjective moral reasoning are seen as these inherently human concepts and beyond current AI replication. This is why Kane cannot understand Zubal's dysphoria. This is why Kane is unable to learn from past mistakes, and this is why we have seen Kane have no moral compass whatsoever. He is an AI, one that obviously seeks validation and praise from the humans he's meant to entertain. And Kane, I feel, truly shows through his actions in this episode that he feels just as stuck as they do. But here is the true reality of the situation. Kane is an AI. Kane is an AI that has been given dominion over human minds and is able to take their brains and make modifications to them. He is a true embodiment of philosophical horror. Philosophical horror uses narratives to explore deep questions about existence, morality, knowledge, and the human condition. This kind of horror moves beyond the simple scares to provoke an existential dread, unease, and sort of critical thinking about reality, identity, and meaninglessness in a vast and indifferent universe. Digital Circus is this vast and indifferent universe, and Kane is their omnipotent ringleader that can take your name, your identity, your everything, shove you into a silly cartoon body, and play with you like dolls. And this makes me so excited and terrified for whatever the final episodes have in store for us. As far as my predictions, to be honest, I don't think there's any true way to leave the circus, and I think there could be many possible reasons for that, like the characters we know of being AI copies of their original hosts, or even that all the characters we know of are dead or in some sort of purgatory. I don't think that anyone has gotten it quite right, though. I don't think any of us in the fandom will or can guess the end. I think we will learn more in the last 2 episodes more about everything. I mean, there's no way we don't. But I hope this theory and line of thinking has gotten your brain's circuits and currents moving, because how truly fascinating of a story would this be? A look into what would happen if an AI was able to rewrite and recode a human mind the way we do to it every day. Gooseworks has already created something pretty legendary here. I mean, its merch lines, pop culture reach, and views show that people really are attached to the story, and I'm very fascinated to see how Gooseworks and Glitch plan to wrap up their largest show to date and what the fandom reaction will be. With that being said, do you agree or disagree with any part of this discussion? What do you think of AI? What are your theories about the next 2 episodes? Feel free to have those conversations with myself and others down in the comment section. Also, to any returning viewers, Happy New Year and a truly special thanks to everyone who has commented and subscribed so far. I really do like having conversations with you all in the comments. So thanks again so much for watching, and please remember, take care of yourselves.